This video will show you how to make a cuff bracelet out of a pop can. You can use any can you want. You will need scissors, and a ruler will also be quite helpful, and a Sharpie marker. Use scissors that are pretty sharp on one end so that you can use them to puncture a hole. And then the first step is cutting both ends of the can off. So be very careful with this process because it is quite sharp once you cut into the can. And I recommend rinsing out your can first. This is a can of water, so it doesn't have any sugar in it, but if you're using a pop can, it's going to be sticky. So rinse it out, and then you still might have to clean the inside of it once you get it all cut apart and opened up. So just be very careful cutting that second end off. Make sure that you don't cut your hand that's holding the can. Okay, so the next step is opening the whole thing up. I recommend cutting down the part that has the nutritional information on it, because that's usually considered the back of the can and not the part with the cool design. So open it up, kind of push it so it doesn't want to curl on you, but it will want to curl until you get it flattened out. And you're going to have some rough edges. So this is where you'll want your ruler. And just line it up to try and even out those edges. And use your Sharpie marker to draw a line that you will cut on either end of the can. So I'm not really measuring the width yet. I'm just worried about trimming up the edges to get them nice and even. So it's helpful to have scissors that are pretty sharp for this. And just trim up those little edges. Again, be very careful because these little trimmings that come off are pretty sharp and they could cut you even as you're picking them up to clean up. Now is where we'll make sure both ends of the bracelet are going to be even. So for a wide cuff, I measure about 2.5 inches, and I just mark it on the inside now. So just measure it to be the same. If you want a narrower cuff, then you would go more at 1.5 to 2 inches. And I draw a line across just to make sure that I will keep it even all the way through. Although this part isn't that necessary if you're going to use a ruler for the folding, which I recommend. It's easier than just using pliers. But if you don't have a ruler and you do have pliers, you could use pliers for this next part. Now I sped it up because it takes a little bit of time, but I'm just going to fold and crease along my straight edge. So you can use anything that has straight edge. It doesn't necessarily have to be a ruler. And then I'm just kind of pushing down to help crease it. And I will fold this over twice. So I just do small folds so I don't lose too much of my cuff width. This is going to end up being a little smaller than a 2-inch thickness for the cuff. Now it's really helpful to have pliers, but you could crease this with anything that could press it down pretty firmly. But you can see I'm just crimping it all the way along. I'm going to do this along both edges with my flat nose pliers because I think that's the best tool for the job. But if you don't have that, you could get creative with some crimping tools. Now we're going to fold in the ends just like you did the sides. So you're going to fold it over twice, and it's a little thicker now, so I'm going to carefully crease along each fold that I do. And that's the second one there. Now you don't want to fold it in too much. You should have it about 6 inches in width so that it will hold onto your wrist. Otherwise it might fall off because this is just a cuff. Now I'm smoothing out some of those lumps and bumps, and I just found a mug to help shape it. So use whatever you have. In class we have a mandrel for shaping metal, but you probably don't have a mandrel at home. And now I'm just going to go around and smooth out any creases that are still there. There are a few lumps and bumps on either side. And I'm just using my fingers for this. You could again use your pliers. And then try it on for size. Make sure it fits. This was a little wide. I think actually the bracelet itself is less than 6 inches long, so it is a little loosey-goosey on my wrist, but it will work. And now you can see 2 different sizes of cuffs here.